Hi everyone, my name is April and welcome to Made with MRTK, a video series where I make cool stuff with the Mixed Reality Toolkit and show you how I did it. Now for this project series, I'm bringing the museum experience into my home by creating a small exhibit where I can pick up a museum item, move it around, rotate it, all with my real life hands. Now this video is the first of 5 videos for this project series. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your Unity project for Windows Mixed Reality Development. We'll also take a look at a Microsoft Learn module that I authored that'll walk you through these steps as well. Ready to get started? Let's go. Okay, so as I mentioned, I authored a Microsoft Learn module to help you get started with setting up a mixed reality project in Unity with the Mixed Reality Toolkit. If you are unfamiliar with this process, check out this module. There's information with regards to what the prerequisites are, and then there's also some exercises that you can try out along the way with setting up your environment, and there's also a nice introduction to the Mixed Reality Toolkit as well. One thing I want to point out is that I do call out that there are some tools that need to be installed. The link that's over there on the Learn module will take you directly to this Install the Tools page that we have on Docs. Within here, there's a list of things that need to be installed, starting with Windows 10. You're also going to need Visual Studio 2019. That's going to be 16.2 or higher. You'll also need the Windows 10 SDK as well. And that'll be the extent of what you need to actually have installed to get started. All right, here in Unity on the Projects tab, I'm going to select New to create a new project. I'm using Unity 2019.4.11 as my version of Unity, selecting the 3D template. The location in which I want to save this is going to be on the desktop, so I'll select that folder. As for the name of the project, I am going to call this one MR Museum. Select Create. And then from here, Unity will start the process of creating the project. All right, so here in Unity, there's a bit of configuration that we need to set up. If you prefer to read through these instructions, again, check out that Learn module that I talked about just a moment ago. Otherwise, you can follow along with what I'm doing here in this video. The first thing I'm going to do is switch to Build Platform. So starting with File, Build Settings, and I'm going to switch to the Universal Windows Platform, leaving everything that's here in the settings as is and selecting Switch Platform. As this switches to platform, once it's done, the Universal Windows Platform will be selected and it's done. Next, we're going to head into player settings, and I need to make sure that virtual reality is supported. So checking that box there, Unity does its thing. And then once that's done, I need to ensure that the Windows Mixed Reality SDK is here within my list of virtual reality SDKs. In the event you head over into here, select virtual reality supported, and the Windows Mixed Reality SDK is not already selected, you can add it by clicking this plus icon and selecting it from your list. For the depth format, this needs to be changed to 16-bit depth. Enable depth buffer sharing needs to also be selected. And then finally, stereo rendering mode will be single pass instance. Again, that Learn module provides context with regards around what these settings actually are and how they impact your experience and whatever it is that you're building. So now that that's been selected, from here, I can click the X. Again, keep in mind with Unity, there is no save button for adjusting the settings. They save as you select them. Exiting the build settings here as well. And then from here, I am good and ready and set up. My environment is ready for Windows Mixed Reality Development. In this video, I'm going to show you how to import the Mixed Reality Toolkit into Unity. Ready to get started? Let's go. Okay, here's the documentation for the Mixed Reality Toolkit for Unity. There's a great deal of information in here, and this is also where you can find the basic building blocks, which happens to be some documentation that I use often, especially in these videos. The way you want to get the Mixed Reality Toolkit into your Unity project is by using the Mixed Reality Feature tool. The Mixed Reality Feature Tool contains the various packages that we at Microsoft provide for your mixed reality development. And I am going to show you how you can use that tool to import the Mixed Reality Toolkit. Here's the Mixed Reality Feature Tool for Unity. Before you use this, you need to have the Unity project already created and set up. So in the prior step, we set up Unity, we configured for Windows Mixed Reality Development, and now we open up the Mixed Reality Feature Tool for Unity. When this is open, you'll select Start, and then the packages are going to refresh. Once the packages are loaded, we will have a couple different sections to choose packages from. We're going to be looking for the Mixed Reality Toolkit section. Okay, so within the Mixed Reality Toolkit, there are 8 different packages here available. All we're going to need is a foundation package, given that that's the only required one to use the toolkit. We also have some different versions available as well. I am going to stick with 2.5.4, and I'm going to check that one off and then select Get Features. Within the Import Features tab, what we need to do next is select the project path. So that's going to be wherever you have the project stored on your computer. Once you've selected that, you can select Import. You'll review and approve, and then select Approve. From there, you'll have the prompt that shows that the project has been updated, and you can return to Unity. From here, you'll select Exit. The next step now is to add MRTK to our scene and configure. Notice here in the top menu that Mixed Reality Toolkit is now a thing. Select that, select Add to Scene and Configure. Once that's been added, you might be wondering, where did the camera go? Down in the Mixed Reality Play Space object, if you will, there's the main camera. That's where it has now been moved to. Now back here in the Mixed Reality Toolkit object, that's actually the toolkit itself. What we need to do here is change the configuration profile. Since I'm using a HoloLens 2, I'm going to select Default HoloLens 2 Configuration Profile. And now that in my game view, the view is black, that's how I personally know that I'm using the correct profile. And that's it for importing MRTK into your Unity project. Now in this video, I'm going to show you how to configure your objects with first a rigid body as well as a collider. These two components are going to be very crucial later on when we go to interact with the objects in our environment. Ready to get started? Let's go. So here in Unity, I've already imported my models and I've added the objects to the scene. For starters, I have my boots, my left and right one, and then I also have a pedestal as well. I've already positioned the object so that way the boots are going to sit flushed to that pedestal. If I turn the camera view there, you can see that the boot is sitting on top of the pedestal. The other thing I want to point out is that I did some modifications to the direction light object. What I noticed when I first initially deployed this to my HoloLens is that the objects were appearing just a tad dark. So I modified the transform for the rotation, and that is now at a 30, -10, and a 0. And then I also increased the intensity to 1.5. So that is why the scene is more brighter than it would be by default. Now for the boots, the first thing that we need to do is add some gravity, and we can do so by adding in a rigid body component. Selecting both the left boot and the right boot, I'm going to select Add Component and Rigid Body. And as the setting shows, use gravity is selected, so that's perfect. The next thing that I need to do is add in a collider. The collider is what's going to help the boot collide with the surface that it's sitting upon, which happens to be the pedestal. I would suggest adding the colliders one at a time, and I will explain why here in a moment. Selecting left boot, and then add component, search for box collider. Select Box Collider, and then what we need to do is select Edit Collider. Right now, what you are not seeing on the screen is the collider itself, but if I select Edit Collider, scroll back, you'll see that it's huge. We need to move in these little squares so that way the collider is only going to be around the boot. So I'm just moving that up. You select the square, you drag it in. If I zoom in more, you can see it better. And then as you're doing this, rotate the camera around because you will notice that the collider is at different points than what you would probably expect. And even back here on this angle, I can come in a bit more. And now that one, I would say, let's push that out just a tad. So that one's been added. And this is why you want to do this one at a time, because if I had both selected, I would have two massive colliders competing against each other and I wouldn't be able to keep track of which one I am modifying. Once you've added in that collider and did the changes for it, you can unselect Edit Collider and that's going to save. For the right boot, going to do the same thing. Select Add Component, Box Collider, select the Edit Collider button, and then you can start moving this in. Now, what happens if you happen to click outside the bounds of the collider? Well, for starters, that collider box that we just saw is going to go away. So to bring that back, select Edit Collider. Slide that in, bring that down. I'm gonna zoom out so I can get this bottom one. And then zoom in so you can see. Rotate the camera around. Bring this one in. Bring the front in, and then we're going to rotate one more time. I'm a little too far out on the left. I'm like almost perfect on the right. And then let's bring the top just a little bit more down. You could bring the bottom a bit more up. Okay, so that one's good. And from there, the next thing that I need to do is add a collider for the pedestal. So I'm going to show you what happens if you don't add the collider to the pedestal. So here in play mode, keep your focus on that game view and notice that they just drop right through the pedestal. In case you missed it, I'm going to do it one more time. In play mode, once the play mode starts, those objects fall right into the nothingness of Unity. So therefore, we need to have a collider on the pedestal as well. Selecting the pedestal object, I'm going to collapse all these components, add component, and this one's going to have a mesh collider added to it. Now that that's been added, when I go into play mode, the boots should sit right on top of the pedestal. Keeping an eye on the play mode, and yes, it is lovely. If I turn this around, it seems like that right boot is just a tad bit higher than it should be. So what I'm going to do, oh, you know what? I think it's a collider. Let me go back to right boot, edit collider. It is, as you can see, sitting into the pedestal. So we can bring that up. Very important that your colliders are in the right place. If I click play now, it sits right on top. And one thing I do want to point out, because I think it's so cool when it does it, coming out of play mode, even though I have in my head these boots flushed right against the pedestal, that doesn't mean that I'm 100% in the right spot. The great thing about having this rigid body applied is that when gravity takes over, it sits the boots directly on top of the pedestal. So keeping a look on the scene mode this time when I go into play, when I click play, the boot's going to fall just a little bit to settle into where it should be. Okay, so my objects have been added to the scene, and now I am ready to add some interactions. In this video, I am going to show you how to configure the two objects from earlier by adding two scripts from the Mixed Reality Toolkit that'll first enable me to manipulate the objects, and the second will enable me to grab it at a close distance. Ready to get started? Let's go. Okay, so let's add some scripts so that way we can actually interact with these objects. For starters, however, I'm going to show you what you cannot do at the moment, which is you can't pick these up with the simulated hand. So down in the game view, now that I'm in play mode, clicking the space bar to bring up the simulated hands, I'm going to zoom out here. I can't pick it up. And I'm trying to pick it up by left mouse clicking, but I can't do that. So our goal here is to be able to select that object and pick it up. Coming out of play mode, I am going to select both the left and the right boot since they'll both receive the same component. I'm going to collapse all components, add component. I'm going to first add the object manipulator script. This is going to enable me to manipulate the object. And now that it's added, I'm going to collapse this so we can have a better look at what's happening in here. There's a series of attributes that you can come in and modify. Definitely consider modifying whatever makes most sense to you. For manipulation type, I do want to call this out. You can modify this particular component, whereas you can manipulate or grab, if you will, for example, or touch with one hand or two hands. Right now it's at mixed, which means you can do one hand and two-handed manipulations. In addition to that, down here in the one-handed manipulation settings, you can select to rotate about the grab point, which I would suggest doing. What's going to happen with that particular setting is that when the objects are picked up, wherever that object happens to be grabbed, that's where the rotation is going to actually happen. Whereas if it was rotate about center, it would only rotate at the center of the boot rather than if I were to pick it up at the top edge and rotating there. I think the current setting, which is rotate about grab, is going to be more realistic. And what we want to do is ensure that we're creating as close to realistic experiences as possible. So that way the user has an idea of what should happen, and that'll be easier for them to interact with the app. And in addition to that, there's also some settings for two-handed manipulation as well. You can modify the settings to either constrain whether the user should be able to only move or only rotate or only scale. One thing I do want to call out is that I do not want the ability to actually scale this. So selecting scale, that is going to remove that. Scale is going to be making the object bigger or smaller, and if you are in a museum in real life, we cannot make objects larger. So again, we want this to mimic that museum experience. So we're just going to have the ability to move it and to rotate it. There are additional settings here as well, and I would highly suggest taking a look at the MRTK documentation if you want to know what all these different settings are. Some of them really come in handy, like the manipulation started and ended settings as well for creating manipulation events. We won't be doing that in this video, but maybe in a future video. So now that those two scripts have been added, there's just one more script that needs to be added to each the left and the right boot. And that one is going to be the NearInteractionGrabbable. So for near interactions, we need to be able to pick up this boot at a close distance as opposed to a far interaction. And the far interactions are going to be usually when the tether is going to be used to show that you're selecting that object from a distance. Whereas for the near interaction, you can also have a tether as well, but this near interaction grabbable is going to enable us to actually perform near interactions, which again, in the real world, you most likely will not be selecting the object from a super far distance. Instead, you would be grabbing it from close proximity. I'm going to collapse what's happening over here in the inspector and twirl down the near interaction grabbable. As I mentioned, you can also have that tether apply for these sort of interactions as well. I personally don't include them. However, it is a really good idea to include them as a way for the user to know that they've actually selected something. Another good idea is to sometimes play a sound for a pickup or a put down, so that way the user has an audible clue to let them know that some sort of interaction has started. So that's just some tips to keep in mind there. So now that that's been added, we're essentially done with what needs to be added for the different objects. All right, so all that's left to do is to try this out in play mode. So selecting the play icon, I'm actually going to expand what's happening down here in the game view, give ourselves a bit more real estate. And using the in-editor hand input simulation, if you will, selecting the space bar, that's going to bring us our hands. I'm using my mouse scroll wheel and scrolling towards me, so backwards, so that way the hand can be brought back a bit more. Using the left mouse click, that'll grab the object. Notice that if I hit the other boot, it starts to tip over. That's completely expected, which is great. Selecting control while still having this space bar from my hand, I should probably come up a little bit more. There we go. And now using control, I'm going to rotate this back and we can see the bottom of the boot, which says Wiz, which is great. And that's probably my most favorite part of this. And rotate this back. So that's pretty awesome. and it falls off as we expect because gravity. All right. Likewise, I can select this right one. You know what? I keep mixing my left and my rights up. In any case, I can select this one, rotate as I will. And this one also says whiz, and I can even leave it like that if I wanted to because I have my colliders and gravity. Okay, that is how you make these objects interactable. Now in this video, I am going to demo the app. What I'm going to first do is pick up one of the boots, rotate it, move it around, and I'll pick up the other one as well. I'm also going to show you how the objects are able to interact with each other with the colliders. Therefore, I should be able to hit one boot with the other one, and it'll probably wobble and move around a bit. Ready to get started? Let's go. Okay, so here's the app that I deployed to the HoloLens. In front of me, I have the pedestal, and then I also have the boots. It's not quite on the ground, but I'm going to walk around so we can take a look at it. But then coming back around, keep in mind I can move each boot with my hands so I can grab it. I'm going to grab this one. I can rotate it. And I can put it back. Notice that as I select one, it knocks the other one over. But even with this one, as I also demoed in Unity, I can lay it back down, sit it up. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, so it works. And that wraps up this project. If you would like to get started creating your own mixed reality experiences, check out the links below in the description. If you happen to have a comment or would like to see a particular topic covered within the Made with MRTK video series, either leave a comment below or come find me on Twitter. Subscribe so that way you'll be notified of upcoming videos within the Made with MRTK video series. And until next time, see you later.